Welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Sorwick here with Mike and Ian again. Guys, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, man.
Yeah, can't complain. So, ready to get this going.
All right, man. Got a lot to get into. Start previewing with the NFL here. Bears are beating Commanders 7-0 right now as we speak. But anyways, Panthers on the road against Detroit. Detroit is now a 10-point favorite. The line opened up at 8.5. It has moved up to 10 now. Um, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. The Lions are going to win this one, man. I mean, the Panthers are garbage. They're definitely in the Caleb Williams uh, running, and yeah, I mean the Lions defense is just a freight train right now. So yeah, I'm taking the Lions in this one.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with the Lions. They're favored by 10 points. I mean, should easily beat Carolina here. I mean, Carolina is a train wreck.
Yeah, normally it's a trap when you see the Lions are 10-point favorites, but I think I like them by 10. Maybe 13 on this one, but yeah.
So I did some research. This is the first time the Lions have been favored by double digits for the first time since oh man, you'd have to go way back since in the 90s. And then the first time that they've been favored by more than a touchdown since 2017. So it tells you just how much Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have built in Detroit. Uh, that they're favored by this much in a game. Um, in London, the Jaguars taking on the Bills. Buffalo's favored by 5.5 here. Um, I think Buffalo wins this one. That said, they don't have to. They have to deal with jet lag, and the Jaguars don't. So we could see the Jaguars winning this one just based on the fact that they're not having to deal with any jet lag because they've been there for 2 weeks now. So yeah, I think Buffalo does win this one, but I think it's gonna be a really close game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that Buffalo, has been just destroying people. And like you said, the jet lag and the travel is definitely going to have a little bit of an effect on them. I think it's going to be close too. I think Buffalo probably by like a field goal probably wins this game. It's going to be close though.
Yeah, the jet lag's the big part for me for Buffalo on this one. The Jags played well against Atlanta, last week out of, all teams, but I do think all things considered, it's a close one, but I'm going to take Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, and Buffalo's just been going on a rampage since week one, but traveling across the world for a game against a team that's been there for 2 weeks now, it's going to be tough for Buffalo. Um, Tennessee on the road in Indianapolis, uh, divisional game here. Tennessee's favored by 2.5. That said, I honestly don't even know who to pick in this one because both these teams are just super, super inconsistent on both sides of the ball. I think I'm more leaning towards Tennessee in this one. I think they do have a slightly better offense than the Colts, but that said, the Colts actually have a pretty decent quarterback, so it's going to be close for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close one. Like you said, they're both so inconsistent with the Titans and the Colts, man. They go up and down each game, it feels like. But I think I'm going to go with the home team here. I will go with Tennessee over the Colts. They had that big win last week against the Bengals. So I think they keep it rolling and take the win here.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one of these matchups where I'm sitting here, I'm like, could we see the first tie of the year? That was my first thought, my first initial gut reaction when I had a look at this one. It was like, we might see a tie, but then I was like, at the other side, Derrick Henry still exists. Until the Colts defense shows something decent, I'm still going to expect Derrick Henry to have a decent day. And I'm going to take Tennessee on this one.
Yeah, you make a good point. Obviously, Derrick Henry just a thing, and the Colts are their defense isn't that good, so they're gonna try to shut him down. But we saw last week when you try to shut down Derrick Henry that Tannehill can actually look somewhat decent. So yeah. But speaking of ties though, in this one it's a even bet. There's no favorite in this one. The Saints on the road in New England. Um, the Saints are 2-2. Patriots are 1-3. I mean, the Patriots are horrible. I'm going to take the Saints in this one. I think they actually have a somewhat competitive team. The Patriots just cannot stop anything defensively, and Mac Jones just ain't it, bro.
Yeah, man.
You can go, Mike.
Yeah, so the Saints and the Patriots, man, both just kind of like mid to bad teams. I want to say the Patriots just because I feel like they have to bounce back, but like I just don't have any faith in them. I think the Saints take this one, man. I mean, the Saints aren't that great either, but definitely the better of the two teams, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that this one's at, there isn't a favorite. Because I kind of think the Saints would be a clear better team. Not that much better, but I'd still think they're, a little better. But yeah, I'm taking the Saints on this one.
Yeah, it being even odds is very interesting to say the least. I mean, both the teams we know are bad, but I mean, I think New Orleans is a slightly better team. I would have at least favored them by 1.5, but it is what it is on that one. Baltimore on the road in Pittsburgh, favored by 4.5 as well. As we've seen recently, the Steelers, after a pretty strong start, have just fallen off the face of the earth, losing to some pretty bad teams. I'm going to take Baltimore in this one. Lamar Jackson, I don't believe in him at all. Still launch him to the fucking moon, but yeah, no, I'm taking Baltimore in this one. Their defense is just really good still.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore too, man. The Steelers have like one of the worst offenses in football right now. They have nothing going. Kenny Pickett is trash. I think the Ravens defense takes care of business and they win this game.
I am definitely in agreement here. I think Baltimore takes it. It doesn't matter who Pittsburgh has lined up at quarterback. Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett. It's not going to be a good one for him. Baltimore's moving to 4-1.
Yeah, absolutely they are, man. Because yeah, it doesn't matter who they have at quarterback. They don't have a good quarterback. So yeah. Texans and the Falcons. Atlanta's favored by this one. They're at home. I'm going to take the Texans in this one, though. Like I said, the Falcons are frauds, man. I mean, they lost to Jacksonville, so I mean, yeah, they're not that good. And C.J. Stroud has just been incredible every single game this year so far. So I think he leads them to a pretty big victory in this one.
Yeah, I agree too, man. How we were saying how the Bills had to deal with jet lag. I mean, Atlanta's coming back from London, so that's got to at least take somewhat of a toll as well. And Atlanta, I think, Desmond Shitter, man. Oh my God, he is so bad, man. One of the worst quarterbacks in the league, man. Like completely awful. The Texans, C.J. Stroud is rolling, man. He has been phenomenal. The best rookie in the class so far by far. I think they keep the momentum rolling and the Texans win.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked Atlanta's favorite on this one because, have not scored, over 10 points in the past couple games. The offense is not looking good at all. And on the other side of the ball, the Texans are performing better than at least I kind of thought they would be, especially C.J. Stroud, the whole Ohio State quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, I'm just going to have to stop mentioning that because, yeah, he's shutting me up about that one. Texans on this one.
Yeah, the Falcons have not really performed at all this year. So yeah, I think Houston definitely takes this one, and Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud, man, that connection is just really good. Giants on the road in Miami. Miami's favored by 12 in this one. I think we can all agree,
Yeah.
man. Miami's winning this one. The Giants are horrible. I mean,
Giants are fucking dog shit,
horrible.
man.
There's just no way. And the Dolphins' offense, despite getting stopped by an actual defense, well, they don't have to worry about playing an actual defense this week. I think Miami wins this one and they cover.
Yeah, man, Miami, honestly, man. So I saw the Giants, the only defense this year that does not have a takeaway. You got their offensive line blocking each other. They're just horrible on both sides of the ball. I think Miami, man, this could be another 70-point performance, man. They are going to go crazy. I could see 50 points easily from Miami in this game as sort of a revenge game for, them losing to Buffalo last week.
I don't know about 50, but yeah, I can definitely see Miami putting up a decent chunk of points. Because, yeah, the Giants are not performing to standards whatsoever. You were a playoff team last year, and you're starting 1-3 with your only win, the comeback win against the Cardinals of all teams. It's not really good. Saquon Barkley was, whole conversation. Daniel Jones got, contract extension recently. Might be time for some changes there, New York.
Yeah, I mean, last year, to be fair, the New York made it to the playoffs on some very, fluky shit. I mean, realistically, they shouldn't have even been in the playoffs, but, they got in there on some technicalities. Speaking of Arizona, though, they're at home against the Bengals. Cincinnati's favored by 3 in this one. I'm going to take the Cardinals, though, in this one. They've, well, for one, Joe Burrow has been playing like garbage this entire season. Obviously, the injury doesn't help at all. That said, Josh Dobbs has actually done a pretty damn good job standing in for Kyler Murray. Yeah, I think Arizona wins this one, not by a whole lot, maybe like a point or two, but yeah, this is going to be a very close game, but I got Arizona.
Damn, man, I'm shocked you're taking Arizona because, man, Arizona is so bad, it feels like they're tanking, man. But the Bengals got to win this game. I mean, if they don't win, they're done for, man. They're not making the playoffs. They start out 1-4. They have to win this game. This is must win for the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals. They have to win this game. Have to.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. The Bengals are, as shocking as it is to say, at week 4, week 5 in the season, they need to win this game. You were the predicted, AFC North winner, and you're starting off 1-3, possibly 1-4, and you just lost to the Arizona Cardinals, who at the beginning of the season weren't favored in a game. You don't deserve to go to the playoffs at that point. So, yeah, I have the Bengals in this one because they got to rebound at some point, you hope, right?
You would hope so, right? But here's the thing: the Bengals are already out of it. I mean, they're out of their division hopes because I did some research last week. The Bengals, the Bengals are out of it because since 1990, it's only happened 35 times where a team starts out 1-3 and wins their division. So, statistically speaking, the Bengals are more than likely just out of it at this point, just because of their record starting out. That said, Joe Burrow is still injured, and it's definitely affecting him, and that's why I think the Bengals might end up actually just losing this one, man. Philly is on the road against the Rams. They're 4-point favorite in this one. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but the Eagles are winning this, but it's just disrespectful to only have them favored by 4.
Yeah, I mean, Philly definitely is by far the better team. The Rams have looked better than I thought they would this season, but yeah, 4 point. I mean, I guess what I could attribute to is that the Rams are home in this game, so that kind of making up for some of the spread there. But yeah, I think Philly wins this one by like a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's a little disrespectful for a 4-point line there, but I do think Philly wins this. But the reason I don't think it's overly disrespectful is because the Rams, their defense isn't the greatest from what we've seen. Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald, but at that on the other end of the ball, outside of Puka Nacua, who do they have?
Well, Cooper Kupp is coming back, to be fair.
Yes, Cooper Kupp
that's
coming
fair.
back.
I believe he is. Let me.
I don't know if he was confirmed back for this one.
I'm not
I know he's back
seeing
in practice. That was the last I
anything
saw.
about that, but yeah, I'm not see. They were definitely practicing this week. I don't know if they're playing yet. But if Kupp is practicing, it's a pretty good sign that he's playing. So maybe that's why they think maybe the Rams' offense will be a lot better, especially with Kupp back, and now you have Nakua out of nowhere, being really good, single-handedly reviving Stafford's career.
I mean, it's possible, but
Yeah.
I still think 4 is a little disrespectful.
Just,
Maybe
just a little bit.
closer to a higher than a score, but
Yeah.
not like overly.
Right. The Jets are on the road in Denver. Denver's actually favored by this one by 2.5. I don't know who I want to pick in this one, man, because Zach Wilson, MILF Slayer Zach Wilson is shit, and then Russell Wilson is super washed up, man. But I'm gonna probably lean towards the Broncos in this one. I mean, they at least have somewhat competent QB play. That said, their defense is abysmal, and the Jets is completely opposite of that. Their defense is really good, so I don't. This one's a toss-up for me. I might lean towards the Broncos though, because the Jets. I mean, to win games, you still have to score points, and I don't think the Jets can even do that. So
I think the Jets are going to take this by their defense. I think the defense is going to be the one that puts up points. I could see a pick six or a fumble recovery, and put them in good field position. Like you said, man, the offenses are just not it. Denver's defense is shit, but so is the Jets' offense. So I think that kind of cancels out. And then I trust the Jets' defense, though. I think they definitely do have one of the better defenses in the league to give Russell Wilson trouble and get some takeaways for sure.
I'm also going to go with the Jets on this one. As much as I hate to say it, Zach Wilson was the first quarterback to outperform Patrick Mahomes in his career. So, it's not something you really want to say, but if he can do that against the Chiefs' defense, what is he going to do to the abysmal Broncos defense that gave up 70, I do think the Jets' defense is the key in this one, because the Broncos are just as bad, if not slightly better on offense than the Jets with Zach Wilson. If Aaron Rodgers is at the helm, obviously we're not having that comparison talk. But yeah, I think the Jets take this one.
I do think the Jets could, because Mike, you brought up some good points actually about their defense being able to score points. I think that is possible. So I would like to change my pick to the Jets, because I didn't really think that through till you made that point. So I'm switching over to the Jets in this one. Chiefs on the road in Minnesota. Kansas City laying 3.5 to the Vikings. I think the Vikings will definitely lose this one. They're just not good. They're out of the divisional race already. And the Chiefs, while they struggled against the Jets defensively, their offense also hasn't really been that strong to start this year. I don't think actually they've put up more than 23 points this year. No, they did. Well, it was against the Bears. So
The Bears, yeah.
so playing somewhat competent teams, the most they've put up is 23 points. I mean, Lions held them to 21. The Jags held them to 17, and then last week, the Jets held them to 23. So I mean, this offense hasn't been rolling. That said, the Vikings defense is abysmal, and Kirk Cousins just is Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, the Chiefs, man, have they got this one for sure. Only way the Vikings got a chance is Justin Jefferson goes off for like 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and just has a crazy performance. But he's going to be doubled every play, so they're definitely going to make it tough on him. But yeah, I think the Chiefs just they got the better team and should take this one.
The only way I see the Vikings winning this one is if Justin Jefferson puts up a stat line like Randy Moss did. 3 catches for almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Other than that, it's Chiefs all day. They've been holding teams, sub like 21, 25 points. Their offense hasn't been putting up those points, but they've been scoring enough to win these games outside of Detroit. So, got to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's gonna be a. I don't know if it's gonna be a blowout because, like I said, the Chiefs' offense just hasn't been able to get going this year, unless they're playing an abysmal defense like Chicago.
See a couple scores.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd see a couple scores in this one just because, like the Vikings' defense is a hell of a lot better than the Bears, but that's not saying a whole lot, because we know how bad the Bears' defense is. But speaking of good defenses, though, the Niners and the Cowboys. Cowboys on the road in this one. San Francisco only favored by 4. That's Sunday night. That is like the best game so far this year, I think, in terms of just, power matchup. Will this be the week the Niners get knocked off that number 1 on the power rankings or not? That's the biggest question. That said, I think the Niners win this one. The Cowboys defense isn't that good. Yeah, they have a shutout, but it is against the Giants, so not really that impressive on that end. Brock Purdy has looked really, really good so far to start the year. I still don't believe in him, but I believe he will lead the Niners to victory this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going with the 49ers as well. I definitely feel like Dallas is by far their toughest matchup yet, and I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas won, but I'm not going to pick against the 49ers until they lose a game, man. Like, they've won like 13 or 14 in a row now, going back to last year. If you don't count the loss in the playoffs, they've won all in a row. They are just so dominant. And the only reason I feel they lost last year was they literally had 0 quarterback play. Purdy was out. Lance was out. Garoppolo was out. They literally had no quarterback. So they have literally a perfect team besides quarterback, man. They are just so stacked in every position. Christian McCaffrey, 4 touchdowns last week, or 3 touchdowns, I should say. And that defense is crazy.
Yeah, I'm also going with the 49ers on this one. I think this game is going to come down to which offensive trio is going to do better. You got Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and, throw in a wide receiver on the team pretty much. Versus Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, and another throw in a receiver on the team. And obviously, just the production comparison from the two it's just glaring. Dak Prescott, you can't even really compare him to Brock Purdy, which is weird. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in the league. And then, fill in the wide receiver positions, go down the line. 49ers are probably going to have the matchup, at least a favorite in the matchup, more often than not. So I think both defenses are really good, but this is going to come down to which offense can make that play to crack the defense, and that's going to be the 49ers.
Yeah, I think it is going to come down to defense. And while Dak is obviously the better quarterback between him and Brock, the Niners defense is the best defense in the country right now. So yeah, I don't think the Cowboys win this one, but I do think this is going to be a very close, low-scoring game. And then speaking of low-scoring games, Monday night, this is one of the toilet bowls of the week. The Packers on the road in Vegas. Vegas is only favored by 1 in this one. But I don't know if Jimmy G's playing this week or not. If he's not, I am going to take the Packers in this one. I think they have a somewhat better offense compared to the Raiders, even with Jimmy G. But Jimmy G just pulls some shit out of his ass half the time and is able to win games. So I'm gonna lean Packers in this one. They also have a better defense as well, not by a whole lot, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers too. Just, you know, feel like they're the better team. Garoppolo may be out as well. Raiders do have a solid. Secondary of the Raiders isn't too great. You know, Max Crosby's pretty solid up front. Definitely could put some pressure on Jordan Love there. I think that the Packers, though, they win a nice 20-17 game. I think it's going to be low scoring, close game, but Packers pull it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I like you said, I like Max Crosby in that defense, but I don't think the comparison is there really, because obviously, I mean, the Raiders almost beat the Chargers, but we all know the Chargers. They're there 1 week, and then the next week they're up, 30 points, and then choke it away in the final minutes.
Thank God they're on a bye this week.
So, oh no, they'll lose to the bye week somehow. But yeah, as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to go with Jordan Love and the Packers on this one. Jordan Love's showed quite a bit of promise this year, and I think he's going to continue that.
He showed promise, but he's also shown Justin Fields level skill. So I mean, he's somewhere in between a somewhat decent quarterback and Justin Fields. So I mean, obviously he's a lot better than Justin Fields, but yeah, I think we all summed it up pretty good. The Vegas defense outside of Crosby is pretty bad. So that kind of wraps up the NFL weekend. Now we're going to break into the top 25 for college football. Starting it off, so Michigan, Saturday night on the road in Minnesota. They're a 18.5-point favorite on this one. Yeah, I'm taking Michigan. Not because I'm a Michigan fan, but because Minnesota blows.
This is an easy Michigan win, man. I mean, Minnesota's not that great, and I mean, Michigan's test is going to be Penn State, so just preparing for that game.
I'm going to also go with Michigan, but it might be a trap game, because Michigan always has some game in the Big Ten that they play against a team. And, I mean, they've already blown out Rutgers and Nebraska. Nebraska is normally their big culprit. So I'm looking at Minnesota or maybe even Michigan State to be one of their trap games. But I still think Michigan handles it.
Michigan State's always a trap game for Michigan. It doesn't matter how bad Michigan State is. It's usually a close game. And it's in East Lansing this year, so that's definitely a trap game for Michigan. That said, also, usually our trap opponents are MSU on the road, especially, and then Indiana as well. And we play Indiana this year, but that's a home game for Michigan. The Red River rivalry, Oklahoma on the road in Texas. The last of this being in the Big 12, because now this rivalry will move to the SEC. Just, stacking up the rivalries in that conference. Texas is favored by 5. Oklahoma's ranked number 12. Texas number 3. Texas, I think, is winning this one because, like I've always said, Texas is back. Quinn Ewers has been incredible so far this year. Their run game might be the best in the country. Their defense is really good as well. That said, Oklahoma's offense has been really rolling so far this year. I think Texas favored by 5 is actually pretty fair because, like I said, Oklahoma's offense has been really good so far. But yeah, Texas is back, and Texas is winning this one.
Yeah, I got Texas as well. Oklahoma, though, I think will definitely put up a good fight. I think that it will be right around that 5-point spread that they have. It's going to be a close game. Texas, I don't think in any way blows out Oklahoma. Like you said, Oklahoma's got a pretty solid offense, top 12 team, but I don't think this is the game that Texas loses. I think Texas has got it through here on out.
If Texas were to lose a game, it's probably this one out of any of them on their schedule, unless they face a better team that comes out of the Big 12 in the Big 12 championship. But I'm still going to take Texas with this one.
Yeah, I mean, Texas is back, man. Texas is winning this one. Maryland going into Ohio State. OSU's favored by 20 in this one. OSU is also coming off the bye week. That said, Maryland got Maryland would basically be ranked 26 on this recent rankings. They had the most votes of teams that weren't ranked. Maryland's been performing this year, and for quite a few years now, for Ohio State, they have struggled against Maryland. They've beaten them, however, but they have struggled a lot against Maryland in recent years. But that said, I think OSU wins this one. I think 20, though, is doing a very big disservice to Maryland.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Maryland covers the spread here, but I don't think by much. I think they'll probably be within. I would say probably 2 touchdowns. I think it's going to be around like 14 points. OSU wins by. I think OSU wins this. Maryland will somewhat keep the game close, but overall OSU I think has this one.
Looking at Maryland's schedule, they haven't scored less than 31 points this year. And looking at these teams, they played Towson, Charlotte, Virginia, Michigan State, and Indiana. None of those teams have the caliber of defense that Ohio State has. So, we'll look for that to see if they can keep that 30-point streak up. I don't think they do. But this is normally a trap game for Ohio State, so I would not be shocked to see them lose 27-24 or the likes of that.
Yeah, I think I think Maryland keeps it within a touchdown, honestly. I mean, this has always been a trap game for Ohio State. That said, Ohio State is coming off a bye week. So, yeah, and this will be a true test of Maryland's offense this week, is just how good are they against a good defense. LSU on the road in Missouri. LSU's favored by 4 in this one. Look, Missouri struggled against Vanderbilt early on last week. They ended up with a pretty sizable win. LSU obviously coming off the tough loss against Ole Miss. That said, LSU's offense is really, really, really good. And I think LSU does win this one. I think it'll be kind of close. Missouri has played some really good ball lately, but I don't think their defense is ready for the challenge of LSU.
Yeah, I think LSU has this one as well. The game at Ole Miss was super close. And LSU easily could have won that game as well. And I think Ole Miss is a better team than Missouri, so I think LSU will bounce back and win this.
I like it, but I'm leaning a little towards Missouri on this one. Because I'm looking at schedules, like LSU gave up 45 to Florida State, obviously, week 1. Just blew the doors off them. And then the next game, they gave up 10 to Grambling State. All right. That's expected. And then 14 to Mississippi State. Okay. And then 31 to Arkansas. You almost lost that game against Arkansas. And then the next week, you have a close one and you lost. And you gave up 55 in that one. So you're starting to get into these, beefier SEC teams. And you're giving up more points. And you're having these close games. If Missouri can keep it close, they can steal it.
Yeah, I think Missouri can keep this one close. I mean, they only have LSU by 4. I mean, a pick 6 or something, or just a late interception by LSU, and it turns the entire game around for Missouri. So, I mean, I can see it going either way, but I am going to lean towards LSU. Washington State on the road in LA against UCLA. UCLA is actually favored by 3 in this one. Washington State's defense is not that good. That said, their offense is absolutely incredible. But yeah, I think this will be a pretty close game. UCLA, their offense is really good as well. Their defense might be a little bit better than Washington State's. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with UCLA in this one. If Dante Moore can just bounce back after um, after that loss from against Utah, I think we'll see UCLA just pull this one out.
Yeah, I think UCLA will win, but it's going to be a close game, man, with Oregon State. Um, I mean, going to be a tough one, but I think UCLA has this one.
I don't know. I like Washington State in this one because yeah, UCLA should come have a bounce back game, but the offense for Washington State is looking really really good. Yeah, UCLA just lost to Utah, but they only scored 7 points.
Yeah, yeah, Utah's defense in that game looked really. That was just a game of the offenses just not being able to really do anything. And Utah losing this past week kind of showed that without Cam Rising, their offense really is nothing. And you know they only scored 14 on UCLA. So that kind of just tells you that really without Rising, Utah is nothing. Virginia Tech on the road going to Florida State. Florida State's favored by 24 in this one. Virginia Tech is just dog shit, man. They really really are. And Florida State, yeah, they've struggled lately. They struggled against Clemson and Boston College. But that said, if they can just get their minds right again, I think Florida State can win this one and pretty handedly by 24.
Yeah, easy win for Florida State here. They're favored by 24, so I'd be really shocked if they lost this game.
Yeah, I'm a big not like fan of Florida State, but I'd say that they'd argue that they have one of the better wins of college football this season already. They went week 1 with LSU, outside of Texas beating Bama. So I'm going to go with Florida State on this one. I think they could probably win by 30.
I don't know if 30 is necessarily doable, but it is Virginia Tech, who is pretty fucking bad. So, yeah. Bama on the road, going into College Station, playing Texas A&M, favored by 1 in this one. Look, I'm not a believer in Texas A&M at all whatsoever. That said, Bama is ass, man. I'm gonna go with Texas A&M in this one. I think they get the big upset.
Let's roll Texas A&M, man. I think Bama probably will end up winning, but man, if you're rolling with Texas A&M, I'm gonna roll with them too, man.
They did it last year. Can they do it again? I guess we'll see. Both teams are 4-1, so Bama's not looking like the Bama of past, but I'm still gonna roll with them.
And that's fair. Yeah, Texas A&M did beat them last year. They've had their number for quite a while, actually. But yeah, I think Texas A&M goes back to back, and they're at home on this one, and they beat Bama on the road last year. Yeah, I think Bama doesn't win this one. I'm gonna go with the fake Texas school in Texas A&M. Syracuse coming in to UNC. UNC's favored by 9.5 in this one. Both teams with 4 wins. Carolina, I think, is going to win this one. Drake May has been incredible so far through 4 games. And yeah, Syracuse defense, not really that good. They lost to Clemson, so Clemson's obviously a better team, but UNC is a hell of a lot better than Clemson is.
Yeah, man, UNC's got this. Drake May is probably the second or third best QB prospect, man. He is incredible, and I think that they take care of business here.
Yeah, Syracuse was looking okay, and then they played Clemson, so UNC's taking this one. I don't think Syracuse is going to recover really from that, because they got UNC. And then Florida State right after that. So that's looking like 3 losses in a row right there for Syracuse.
Yeah, I don't see any way Syracuse beats this one. I think Drake May at least right now, is probably the second best quarterback in the country. Penix is obviously number one. I mean, that dude is just built different right now.
So
Uh,
Drake May over Caleb Williams.
yeah, he's probably
That's a
number
tough
three. Then
one.
I think right now, honestly, it goes Michael Penix. In my own opinion, it goes Michael Penix, Caleb Williams, and then Drake May. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, Penix has been so good, and we'll talk about him uh, in a little bit. But so Kentucky, number 20, Kentucky on the road in Georgia. Georgia's favored by 14 and a half. And look, man, Georgia struggled against Auburn. They haven't covered against anyone this year. They couldn't even cover against fucking Ball State and UAB. I mean, they are not looking good. This Georgia team has struggled a lot. Kentucky is tested. I think Kentucky comes out with the upset win in Athens, man.
Damn, that's bold, man. I don't think that Kentucky's going to take it that far. I do think they'll keep it close. I do think that, we're going to get eyes on that game, and, they might even have a lead at some point on Georgia, but I don't think that Kentucky's going to be quite up to Georgia. Georgia's not been what they should have been, but they haven't been, like losing to anyone. So I think Georgia will still win this, but I do think it will be a close game.
Yeah, I'm going with Andrew on this one. I think Kentucky takes the upset on this one. Like you said, Georgia has not covered all season, and when you beat Ball State 45-3, and you still don't cover, so you won by 42 points, and you still didn't cover.
They were favored by 45 and a half in that one. So they were close, but they still didn't cover.
Yeah, that's kind of saying something. Where, their first game, UT Martin, they won 48-7, and you still didn't cover. That's 41 points. That's ridiculous. And they've only given up more points as time has gone on. So eventually, I think a team is going to come in and smack the defense around, and I think it's either going to be Kentucky or maybe even Mississippi.
When they play Ole Miss, that's gonna be a very interesting game to watch. Kentucky's run defense has been, or not run defense, but run offense has been really, really good so far this year, and Georgia has not looked good against the run. So yeah, I'm going with Kentucky in this one, but it's going to be a very, very close game. So we'll just have to wait and see. Notre Dame is taking on Louisville. Louisville at home. Notre Dame's favored by 6.5 in this one. You got number 10 versus number 25. And look, Louisville has been really good so far to start the year. Their offense has been, just rolling. But I think, Notre Dame's defense is the toughest defense that they're going to be playing so far this year. It's gonna be a very close game. I do think Notre Dame wins this one, probably by 3 or 4 points at the very most. I mean, they struggled against Duke, but yeah, I think Louisville makes this a close game, and Notre Dame does struggle again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Notre Dame is going to be able to pull it out. Again, probably a field goal to touchdown. Points wise, I think it's going to be close, but yeah, I have Notre Dame in this one.
I think this one's going to be another upset for me. I'm going to go with Louisville. They've been rolling, and Notre Dame has been struggling a little bit. I think Louisville might be a better team than Duke. I mean, obviously, if they play head-to-head, we'll find that out. But I will take Louisville on this one, in a very close one.
Well, Riley Leonard's out for Duke at quarterback, so he was the heart and soul of that offense. So, yeah, I don't know if we'll see Louisville and Duke actually face each other and be equal. But yeah, I like you said, with Louisville possibly winning this one, I think it is possible. I mean, Notre Dame's been struggling defensively. Offensively too, they haven't really been able to do a whole lot. I mean, Duke's defense isn't that good, and they struggle to put up points there. Arkansas on the road against number 16 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is favored by 11.5 in this one. I think Ole Miss takes this one easily. I mean, Arkansas, you know, they damn near beat LSU, but I think Ole Miss's defense might be just slightly better than LSU's, and that's not saying much because both their defenses are pretty garbage. But that said, Ole Miss's offense has been really good so far to start the year, so I think Ole Miss takes this one and they definitely cover.
Yeah, I think so too. Ole Miss, I mean, coming off that big win against LSU, I think they continue this trend and win this one.
I agree that Ole Miss will continue the trend and keep winning on this one. Arkansas isn't that great of a team this year.
No, they're not. I mean, they're just flat out not. Georgia Tech on the road against number 17 Miami. Miami's favored by 20 in this one. Georgia Tech already lost to a ranked school earlier this year against Louisville, although Louisville wasn't ranked at the time. But yeah, I think Miami wins this one easily. I mean, their offense has been really good. Defensively, they've been really good. I think they should be higher up than 17 on the rankings, in my own opinion. But it is what it is. But yeah, Miami takes this one. I don't know if they cover, but they definitely win.
Yeah, I'm going Miami. I think they'll cover as well. Miami's been a solid team this year. I think they could definitely get a top 15 at some point this year. And Georgia Tech is just not it. I think Miami handles this one.
I agree that Miami wins this one and covers because they've been playing really well. I mean, their best win right now is not at Texas A&M. It's versus Texas A&M at home, but they still won by 15. And they had 2 picks in that game, and their quarterback threw for 5 touchdowns. That's a hell of a performance against one of the better teams.
Yeah, well, I mean, Texas A&M blows, but yeah.
Power 5 team still.
Well, yes, but, they still blow. Fresno State on the road against Wyoming. Fresno State's only favored by 6 in this one. Look, I think Fresno State wins this one. It's going to be a really close game. Wyoming did put up a pretty good fight against Texas earlier this year, so Wyoming's team is no one really knows that they exist because, it's Wyoming. But they have actually looked pretty solid this year. They're 4-1. But Fresno State, man, they're number 24 in the country for a reason. They've been playing some really good ball lately.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Fresno State. I don't really know too much about either of these teams, but they're favored by 6. So Fresno State's always had at least a competent, I feel like, program, and I think they take this one.
I always used to make jokes about Wyoming because of just how god-awful their football team used to be. Because, I used to compare them to, EMU. Good old, 1-10, 1-11 teams. And it was always just a good matchup when they always played. Cause it was a toilet bowl, and you didn't really care who won or lost. But that said, good on them for turning it around. I don't think they win this one, though. I'm going with Fresno State.
Yeah, I mean, Wyoming, they have a pretty good win against Texas Tech, so there's that. They lost 31-10 against Texas, but that first half was very, very close in that game. And then they beat App State and they beat New Mexico and Portland State as well. But that said, Fresno State has just been rolling, and they are number 24 for a reason. So. Yeah, I think Fresno State wins this one, but don't be shocked if Wyoming is in this one late. Number 15, Oregon State on the road against Cal. Oregon State's favored by 9 in this one. I think the Beavers win, and they cover in this one. Cal has not looked very good at all. But, yeah, I mean, Oregon State, they lost to Washington State, but I think they're definitely going to just, bounce back after that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Oregon State here bounces back this week. And yeah.
I'm not really a fan of this Cal team and what they've done this year, or rather at all, for that matter, but it's not really the team I'm going to look forward to watching. But I like Oregon State. Obviously, they're ranked. I'm going to go with Oregon State on this one. But I don't know if Oregon State's going to be covering. Just because it's a Pac-12 game. You never know what's going to happen. They'll tear themselves alive.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. I mean, Cal really hasn't been anything since Aaron Rodgers was there. So I mean, it's been a very very long time since Cal has really done anything. So yeah, I think Oregon State does win this one. I think they also cover too. And then lastly, number 9 USC bringing in Arizona. USC's favored by 21.5. Arizona's defense is actually really good. Their offense not so much. I think USC wins this one. I don't know if it's by 21.5, mostly because USC's defense can't fucking tackle anyone to save their lives. Like if they had one person that wasn't afraid to tackle, they would probably blow teams out. But every single person on that defense just is afraid to tackle, man. But yeah, we'll see. But I think USC definitely wins this one. I don't know about covering, but they definitely win.
Yeah, USC's got this, but man, that defense just looks awful. It's gonna be Caleb Williams that just takes over and wins this one for him.
Yeah, you guys said it. They got to get that defense fixed up. But they should take this one pretty handily.
I mean, if like they are metrically outside of the top 100 in every single meaningful stat defensively. I think I covered that on Tuesday's episode, but yeah, I mean, when you're in or when you're outside, when you have group of 5 schools like Eastern Michigan and Wyoming, and all these other piss poor programs no one cares about, having better defensive stats than you, it kind of speaks volumes, man, about just how bad your defense is. And like I said, these guys are afraid to tackle, so it's gonna be interesting for sure. But yeah, so that wraps up the weekend previews. We're gonna now switch over to the MLB. The Rangers, all wild card series were swept. The Rangers swept the Rays. The Twins swept the Cardinals, or not the Cardinals, but the Blue Jays. Phillies swept the the Marlins, and then the Diamondbacks. They ended up sweeping the Brewers. So you had two divisional winners. Actually, no, Tampa Bay didn't win their division. Never mind. But yeah, you had the Brewers, who won their division, get swept by a wild card team. So looking into it, the first ALDS matchup, we have the Rangers and the Orioles. I think the Orioles are going to win this one. I think this is going to be a very, very close series. It's best of 5 for these, right?
I believe so. Yeah, let me double check.
Because if it is best of 5, then yeah, I think the Orioles in 5. I mean, the Rangers have been playing some really good ball as of late, and they actually could have won their division, but they just didn't. And yeah, but I think the Orioles win this one. I mean, they have the second best record in the league. So yeah, I think the Orioles win this one.
I think it's going to be close, man. I think that the Rangers definitely have a good team. A lot of good high-power guys on offense, and pitching has done better than I thought in the playoffs so far. And yeah, it is a best of 5, so I think this goes 5 games, though. I think the Orioles do pull out. I think it goes the full 5 games.
I'm going to go with the Orioles. I don't think it goes 5. I think the Rangers are a really good team. I can give them 1 in this one. I don't think it goes a full 5, maybe 4.
I can see 4, yeah, but I don't know. This is gonna be a very very good matchup. Like Mike said, their pitching so far has been really good in the playoffs. It was 2 games, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that when we see the full rotation in the playoffs. But yeah, this is gonna be a very interesting matchup for sure. The Twins and the Astros will also play in the ALDS. I think the Stros sweep this one, man. I mean, they've been really, really good, and well, the Twins are, horrible.
Yeah, I think maybe the Twins get one game. If they're lucky, they get hot one of the games. But yeah, I think Houston handles this one. Hey, they said though that was the first time the Twins have won a playoff series since 2002. So it's been a while since they've had any playoff success. They won their matchup in the wild card round, but I think that Houston's going to humble them. I mean, Houston has so much experience over these last 5-6 years in the playoffs. I think that a sweep or going to 4 games here.
Yeah, first series or playoff series win since 2002, but you're spending the next one at home after this. Twins are getting swept. I'm not even giving them the benefit of the doubt and saying 4.
Yeah, I think the Twins also, their record against the Astros in the regular season, I think they only won 1 game. So I mean, I think the Astros probably sweep
Twins
this one.
had a losing record against the Detroit Tigers.
Yes.
That's all I need to say.
Yeah, right. Well, to be fair, Detroit did finish second in the division, but the Twins had 82 wins to win the division. Like,
I think it was 85, but still, that's not good.
Still not good at all. You're just barely above 500. Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah. Moving over to the National League, the Phillies are taking on the Braves in this one. I think this one goes 5. The Phillies are a very, very good team. They have playoff experience as well. And the Braves are obviously the best team in the league right now. I mean, when you have Acuna going off the way he did this year, he was 40-70 this year.
Yep.
And I mean, that dude has been just incredible this year, and the Braves pitching has been really good. That said, Phillies have been really good lately. Able to get themselves into the playoffs, and they have this experience, and so yeah, I think this one goes 5. I think the Braves do take it though. I can see the Braves taking it in 4 though.
Yeah, I think that this also probably goes 5 games. I mean, I think the Braves have the best team and the best chance of winning the World Series, but I mean, the Phillies were in the World Series last year, so they definitely have the experience. They have played so well in the postseason. They played well in these wild card games, man. Philly just, like I said, recently has played so well in the playoffs, but Atlanta's got the best team. I think that I can't bet against them. I mean, Acuna, he's going to be the National League MVP. The pitching's been great. Spencer Strider had an amazing year. The Braves got the best team in baseball, so I got to roll with them.
Yeah, this was definitely my most intriguing matchup to watch throughout the entire playoffs, if it happened. And obviously now it's happening, so I'm really excited for it. I like both of these teams. I do see this series going 5, and it feels like it's a guaranteed 5. Because it feels almost disrespectful to both teams to say they're going to win 1 or none, Especially if it's the Braves. If the Braves get swept after putting up the season they had, you got to go into the offseason asking some questions about the management and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way in hell this goes anything less than 4. There's just no way there's a sweep. I think Atlanta wins the first 2, and then Philly wins the next 2, and then that last game is going to be a hell of a matchup. And then our last matchup in the National League, the Diamondbacks are taking on the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers win this one. The Diamondbacks, man, what an incredible story. Last year they were horrible, and now this year they're in the playoffs. I mean, talk about a 180, man.
Yeah, man, I really like the Diamondbacks team, man. I think Corbin Carroll is going to be a superstar in this league. He has shown so much promise as a rookie, and definitely one I wasn't as high on, but he proved me wrong, man, being and living up to the hype this year. He's been great. The rest of the team has overperformed for sure. It's going to be a nice divisional matchup. They're both in the NL West. I love to see the Diamondbacks win, but I think the Dodgers win this. I think it's going to go 4 games. I think the Diamondbacks will take 1 game, but the Dodgers it's the Dodgers. But I do think they'll choke next round, though, the Dodgers. They always seem to win the first round and then choke in the NLCS, man.
Yeah, Corbin Carroll is that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he's not the NL Rookie of the Year, I don't know what they're doing. Like, what he's done is ridiculous for that team. Ketel Marte is pretty decent, too. Not gonna lie. My boy Evan Longoria, keeping it down at third base, even in his old age, I've loved Evan Longoria ever since he's played on the Rays. I want to see him, go to the World Series and, possibly compete for one. I don't think it happens because I think the Dodgers take this one in 4.
Yeah, and like you said, I would love to see the Dodgers choke in this round. I mean, that'd be great. But that said, I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to win this series. I think probably Dodgers honestly in 4. But that said, Dodgers are going to definitely choke this year because they always do. And plus, they'd have to either play Philly or Atlanta. So yeah, good luck.
And neither team is a good look on the other end. You don't want that.
No. Either way, that's yeah. All right, so kind of wraps up that Mike. I know you wanted to still discuss a little bit on that trade that we talked about on Tuesday.
Yeah. So on the Tuesday episode, I should say, we brought up the Drew Holiday trade. So we talked about the Damian Lillard trade, and now Boston counteracting that, taking Drew Holiday from Portland here. And I really wanted to save this because I know Ian knows a little bit about some basketball, man. And I wanted to kind of compare these starting fives and the lineups for both Boston and Milwaukee. Now both the title favorites. They're both, last I looked, at a plus 380 odds. So they have the same odds, and they're both the number 1, number 2 teams, with Phoenix and Denver not far behind after that. But yeah, I just want to read off some of these lineups here, give your guys' thoughts, and see who you think has the better team, man. So with Boston, you have Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps is going to be their 5. I've also seen a 5 where they could throw Al Horford in there if they want to go a little bit bigger and put Derek White on the bench. And then Milwaukee here, you got Dame, Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. So Ian, man, I mean, of those teams, who do you got?
I mean, either way, looking at it from an outside perspective, as a Pistons fan, sadly, the top of the East just became a 2-team race. No offense to anyone else in the East, but you have a clear-cut top 2 right now. Those are easily the best top starting 5s in the East, and no one can really sit there and say otherwise.
The Sixers are kind of out of that discussion now. They're just a level below. And even Miami too, I think.
Even with Jimmy Butler and I wouldn't put them at the same level. When you can sit there and you have the ability to sit there and say you can either start Kristaps Porzingis or Al Horford, that's a good problem to have, I would say.
Yeah.
I know Knicks fans, they're like, their boy Tingus Pingus, not greatest look, but I think for that, I think for that team, he's gonna put some work in. But at the other end, you still have Giannis in Milwaukee. You just got, I don't want to say an off-brand Steph Curry and Dame, but he's a lesser version of Steph Curry. You can pretty much shoot it wherever you want him to shoot it from, and he'll put it in. But it's just those two, I would say Milwaukee has the top 2 right there. Because I like Jason Tatum, and I like, the other parts of Boston, but I think clear-cut, obviously Giannis is better than Jason Tatum. And if you're going to put those two as probably their top players on their respective teams, So obviously, right there, Milwaukee has the edge in the number 1 spot, and then the number 2 spot with Dame or whoever you want to put there. I still think there's an edge there, but after those top two, it's kind of pick and choose after that. So I could see this going either way, and it's going to be really fun to watch who ends up 1 and who ends up 2 in the East.
Yeah, man. I think that Dame is like the perfect complement to Giannis. Like, besides Steph, of course, like you mentioned, Steph's a little bit better, but Dame is basically, that next best version of Steph. And, Giannis playing on the inside, Dame being able to shoot the outside ball. They just complement each other so well. Their games match really well. But like you said, man, Boston has a solid group here. I think that Boston probably has the overall stronger team, but Milwaukee, that 1-2 punch is unmatched. And there was actually some clips that I was seeing of Drew Holiday, how we mentioned now he's on Boston, of him kind of locking up Dame, man. I mean, Drew Holiday is one of the best defenders in the league, so if he's giving Dame trouble, man, that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something to see, because obviously, he's locking up someone that he was, traded for.
Yeah, it might give him that extra motivation, man. Just like, you think he's better than me, in
It's
gonna be
prove you wrong.
yeah. Andrew, you have anything you want to add? I know that you're not much of the NBA guy, but if you have any thoughts,
I got nothing here, but yeah, I mean, sad piston noises for all of us.
I don't know. They had a decent chance at maybe being like a wild card team, but I don't know. It depends if Cade and Jaden Ivey and all of them get along together very well. I think they will.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will, man. I mean, Cade. I saw a interview like I think it was a couple days ago, but Cade was basically just praising Jaden Ivey's work ethic and skill and all that. So I think those two, if they can really get going this year, the Pistons might actually have a pretty decent chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, man. I don't know if Pistons will make the playoffs this year. If they do, it'll be like in the play-in tournament. But I think give it 3 to 5 years, man. I know that seems like a long time, but 3 to 5 years, man. Let this young core develop. Maybe draft a couple more top-end players. They'll probably have another top 10 pick this year. Hopefully, whoever they get will pan out and they can grow, man. The Pistons, I mean, Cade was a great pick. Jaden Ivey showed promise. Jalen Duren's been solid. So we're definitely getting this young core together. Sar Thompson, I'm excited to see what he does for his rookie year. So a lot of promise for the Pistons, though, moving forward. At least we're going in the right direction now. It feels like our team's improving.
Yeah, we'll just have to see, man. The season's coming up soon, so that'll be interesting. Do you think Detroit? Do you think the Pistons are going to make the play-in tournament, though? That's the real question.
Man, that's going to be tough. They do, though, because the play-in, it's the first top 10, so it's 7, 8, 9, and 10 play each other of the 15 team in the conference. So if they do, it'll probably be like a 9 or a 10 spot. So, like I said, there's a chance they could, but honestly, I wouldn't mind them missing the playoffs just to get another top pick and building up another strong player for this team.
Yeah, that's fair. So moving on from the NBA, look, the NHL season starts next Tuesday, actually. So lots to talk about there. I saw something yesterday. It looks like the NHL's going to raise the salary cap next year. It went up this year by about $1.5 million. Last year was $82 million flat. This year it's $83.5 million. Next year, though, they're looking at a pretty big jump at moving it somewhere between $87 and $88 million. So that's going to be huge. There's obviously a lot of teams like Toronto and Vegas that want it to be, up to like, 95, 96 million, just because, they don't want to have all these guys on the injured reserve list to exploit that loophole. But that said, with the NHL coming up on Tuesday, we're gonna do a little something fun here to round out the show. We're gonna do a little prop bets. I got a list here of a few bets, and most of these are over unders. So let's get into it. Connor Bedard goals his rookie season 32.5, over or under.
Um, man, give me the over, man. I really think Connor Bedard is gonna go crazy, man.
I would say give me the under. I don't know about 32 and a half. I could see him probably doing a good 25, 27.
But I'm gonna go with the under as well. I think he gets 32 exact. Honestly, that's what a lot of projections actually have him at. He's on Chicago, so we have to think. He's looked pretty good in the preseason, and he'd be on pace if with his preseason pace at just about 35. But he's also been playing against not full NHL teams, so we'll just have to wait and see just on that. But I'm going to go with the under on this one. Alex Ovechkin goals 40.5, over under.
This is a tough one, man, because Ovi is not slowing down. 40 though, that's still a lot, man.
He did put up 40 last year. He put up
did.
exactly 40 last year. So is he going to go 40 again, or is he going to go 41? That's really your question.
I think I'm going to go with the under, but very slightly. I still think he's going to be on track for the goals record. I'll give him like 35. I think that he's got to slow down a little bit, right?
You would think, but he hasn't yet.
Yeah, it feels wrong to take the under on OV goals. It really does. But 40 and a half, I think he hits 40. I don't think he gets 41. If he gets 41, I'll eat whatever I have next to me on my desk, I guess.
That's fair. I'm gonna go with the under on this one because, look, he's definitely gonna pass Gretzky. He needs to average over the next 3 seasons, counting this coming season. He needs to average just 28.5 goals for the next 3 years each season. I think he's gonna lower his average again because his average was, I think it was 40 goals when he first signed this contract, and then it reduced down to 35. Now it's just 28.5. He is moving that average down, but he hasn't put up, I think in the last 2 years he hasn't put up more than 40. So, but he's still a 40-point scorer. I don't know if he's gonna slow down though, man. He wants this record, but we'll just have to wait and see. Dylan Larkin points 76.5. He was a point per game player last year. Is he going to go over or under 76.5?
I'm going to go over. I think he's around that as well. Maybe even a little bit more. I think that I could see him. I could see Larkin at in the mid 80s for points, man. I think he's going to have a nice season.
I'm also going to go with the over on this one. I think Larkin will get probably 85, maybe even 90. He's got Alex DeBrincat on the team now. That could help him a lot. Assist and goal-wise.
Yeah, he's going to have DeBrincat on one side, on his right. He's going to have Raymond on his left, who's probably going to have a bounce-back year after his sophomore slump. That said, if Larkin can stay healthy, he definitely goes over on this. But it's a matter of him staying healthy, and he hasn't played a full 82-game schedule in quite a few years. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think I will go on the over here. I think he gets about 78, 79, even if he's out of the lineup for a little bit. Igor Shesterkin wins 30.5.
This is tough, man, because goalies, I feel are so unpredictable in the league. One year they can go off, and the next year they'll play shit. So it's tough, but man, I think Igor is one of the better goalies for sure in the league. Dude is definitely, like I said, one of the top goalies. I think, though, I'm going to go with the under. I think it's just so tough for goalies to be consistently good year in and year out, man.
30 is the hefty number. They play 82 games.
He's not gonna play them all. Just remember that.
Well, yeah. So, just saying he only plays in those 30, right? That would mean he would have to win all 30 of them. I don't think he's gonna miss 52 games. I think he's gonna play obviously more than half of this season. Does he win 30 of them? I don't think he gets close. I'm going to take the under on it. I think he gets close, probably in the 28 area.
I think he's gonna go over this. Last year, he started 58 games. He had 37 wins. He's gonna go over. I think he's obviously the best goalie in the league right now, and I think he's gonna stay the best goalie in the league. I mean, he's part of this like newer generation of goalies where you got guys like, compare him to like Tuukka Rask for a second, who was used to guys used to guys not shooting the way that these younger kids are starting to shoot the puck. Igor has basically grown up playing against kids who have been shooting the puck the way that they have by using more of that upper arm instead of that lower arm for shooting. So I think he gets about 35 wins this year. I don't know if he hits 37 again, but I would not be surprised at all if he gets well over this 30 mark. Leon Draisaitl points 116.5.
Man, that's a really big line. I mean, Leon is great, man. Him and McDavid, are going to put up their points, man. I think I'm going to go slightly under. I think he does get over 100, but 116 is a lot, man. I'm gonna go under on this one.
I think I'm going to go with the over. I think he can get 120. Him and McDavid have been putting up points like crazy the past few years.
He hit 128 last year. That was a career high. He's been over 100 four separate times. 105, 110, 110, and then last year 128. I don't know if he can repeat anything over that. I think he does go over, but I think it's just barely over. So yeah, we'll see on that one. Sidney Crosby points 90.5.
I'll go the over. I definitely feel like he is going to break the streak this year of the most seasons with averaging at least a point per game. So the line set at 90 there. I think he'll just barely be over, like 90 to like 93.
I'm going to go with the under. I think he won't hit 90, but he'll average over a point a game.
Yeah, this last year was the first year since 2017, 2018 where he played a full 82 games. Obviously, 2019 he missed quite a bit of time due to injury, but also COVID. And then obviously, the COVID season. Last year he played not last year, but 2 years ago he played a very nice 69 goal games and put up 84 points. He put up 93 last year. His production has slowly started to fade away as he's gotten older. Not by a whole lot. I do think he hits the over here, but again, just barely. Longest win streak for any team, 12.5.
That's another tough one, man, because just stringing your wins together. But I think like a team like Colorado has a good chance of doing this. One of those top teams for sure. I'm going to take the over. I think a team could go for 15, a 15-game win streak this year.
Yeah, this is another one of those where I'm not afraid to take the over on. I think a team could probably get 13, 14. Just depends on who they're playing when they start getting rolling.
So last year the longest was 13, and that was by the Devils. And I think the next biggest streak was actually 11, so only one team would have actually hit this over last year. That said, I am going to take the over here. I don't know if it's going to be New Jersey to do it again. I think Carolina has a good shot at doing it, though. And, I think really that's the only team capable of doing this. Longest losing streak by any team, 13.5.
Again, another one. A lot of bad teams as well. I think I'll take the over as well. I mean, teams will just how they can string up wins, man. They can string up a whole bunch of losses, man. I think that it'll go over.
I think it also has the potential to go over. I'm looking at teams like Arizona and, teams that have just been bottom feeders for a while. Maybe even Anaheim starting to go down there. Not looking that great as of late. But, teams like Columbus don't really have direction. They're probably going to end up jumping ship at some point in the season and just saying, go ahead, you guys have lost 9 in a row anyway, lose 15, and then win a couple, make it, look like we're not truly tanking. But I think a team can pass that 13.
So last year, no one would have hit this. The longest streak last year was 13, so no one hit the over, and that 13 loss streak was by Anaheim. So yeah, I think this hits the under though. I don't think anyone goes over a 13 loss streak this year. Total team points. So basically you get your 2 points for winning and your 1 for an overtime loss. New Jersey season points 105.5.
I think I'm gonna go with the under on this one. I think it's close. I think they're around 100. New Jersey. I mean, you got the Hughes brothers on the team. They're definitely gonna put up points, man. I think that they're solid, but I'm gonna take the under here.
I am also going to go with the under. I think they hit 100 points, but I don't think they get much more than that.
I'm going with the over. They hit 112 last year, and they've gotten much better over the offseason, so I think they're going to even put up even more points than they did last year. I'm going way over on this one. San Jose total team points 65.5.
We're rolling with the Sharks, man. Over. No explanation needed.
As much as I want to go with the over, I think they hit that or they barely miss it. They're not looking like that great of a team. I mean, they made some changes that I do like, but at the end of the day, you had a pretty meh roster to work with, and you didn't do much to improve upon it.
They were a bottom 5 team last year. They are the only
a bottom 3 team.
They right now Vegas has them as they're the favorite to have the worst record in the league this year.
That's not a shock.
At plus 270, which by the way, this is my last bet. But that said, I think San Jose hits the under on this one. They are the only team in their division that didn't get better and actively made themselves worse in the offseason. So, San Jose's obviously going to do what they always do and beat teams that they probably shouldn't beat. They're going to probably, sweep the season series against Vegas because for some reason San Jose can just do that despite having a horrible team. But yeah, I think the under hits on this one. I don't think they score even more than 60. And then the last bet here, I'm going to give you the bottom 6 or the 6 most favorite teams to win and their odds for worst record in the league. So San Jose is the favorite at plus 270, Anaheim at plus 390, Chicago at plus 650, Montreal at plus 750, Columbus at plus 800, and Philly at plus 1,000. If you were putting money on any of these teams for the worst record, who are you putting that money on?
Man, fuck Canada. I'll go with the Canadians.
I would probably put money on either San Jose or Anaheim.
Yeah, I think Anaheim. If I wanted to try and make myself some money, I'd obviously put the money on Anaheim. That said, Montreal is dog ass. I don't know. I'd probably either put my money on San Jose or Montreal with this. Logically speaking, in terms of value, obviously I'd put more of my money on Anaheim than anything. But yeah, surprisingly though, Arizona is not in that bottom 6, or I guess top 6 for the favorite of being the worst, which is kind of surprising. But they did make themselves actually better this season, which is surprising. So we'll just have to wait and see. And that wraps that segment up. So Guys, you got anything else you want to add?
Um, no, man. I think we covered a lot of stuff tonight, man. We dove deep into all four sports here, so we covered a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, barring another Bears choke,
Yeah, another
there's
27 to
nothing.
3.
It's now 27-11. Yeah, we'll. You guess you guys will see on Tuesday when for that next episode what happens. That I don't have anything.
I really hope, really hope Washington ends up winning this one, just for the memes, man. But anyways, rate, review, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, help us out. Leave, comments, share this with your friends, your family, and let us know, man. If there's anything you want us to cover, all that, just let us know, and we definitely will. And anything, suggestions, ideas, etc., just let us know, because we definitely want to grow this podcast and make it better. So with that, we will see you guys on Tuesday.